Hello and welcome back. I'm your host JT Thomas, sitting in for David Gyorko on this episode of In the Huddle. Joining me, we have Scott Gyorko and Willie Edwards, and we will go over the West Virginia-Texas Tech game. Gentlemen, let's jump right into it. We saw West Virginia play one of its better games. Oftentimes when we sit here, we talk about grades. So, if we would, let's start off with let's start off with our player of the week. Player of the week.
I'll start off. Player of the game, player of the week, Josh Lambert. It's got to be him. His longest field goal in his career, 55-yarder, ice in the veins. I mean, it's kind of a no-pressure situation for him, though, as well. You're not expected to hit a 55-yarder in college, and then for him to drill it like that, along with two others,
and he missed one earlier. So,
right.
Coming back and then having to kick another field goal, knowing that you missed one that was shorter, bodes well for him. That shows that, this guy's mentally tough and he's focused.
And it's a weapon for the offense. Not only can you have confidence in your kicker to say, hey, we only need to get to the 40-yard line. That's a great weapon to have in your arsenal.
And I think that's the second time he's done that this year. He's won a game for us with a big kick. Will, you're
I'm gonna have an MVP and a co-MVP. My MVP is the defensive line, and the co-MVP is the offensive line. Offensive line did a great job. We had 200-yard rushers. And actually, Wendell Smallwood had 15 carries for 123 yards, and Russell had 24 carries for 110. So anytime you have two guys rush for over 100 yards, the offensive line is doing a great job. Second half, our defensive front, we pretty much shut down Texas Tech running game, because in the first half they was running the ball at will. We had two stops inside the red zone and gave up only field goals, and if they would have got scored touchdowns, it would have been a different outcome for the game. So our defensive front did a great job. They had a 4th and 1 stop, and then they made them kick 2 field goals. So defensive lines MVP, offensive line co-MVP.
Well, and I would agree with that. I would agree with both guys. Josh Lambert did a great job of making those kicks. And when I kind of look at it in regard to my most valuable player or player of the week, I look at three. I actually had three different components of the game. Josh Lambert and his ability to make those kicks. White and Thompson in regard to those big catches they made, especially with Thompson making the 56-yard catch. And I would actually even say the coaches. I thought the coaches did a great job after halftime, rallying the guys and getting them ready to come out for the second half. In fact, we talked about that last week about being able to play in the second half, and I thought the coaches did a great job of pulling them together.
Well, let's not forget Clint Trickett here. He's on pace to shatter all the West Virginia records for passing this year.
That was his worst game. He still had 300 yards.
300 yards. It was his worst game. He had 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty well. He's also on what is his 6th straight game of over 300 yards in our offense. 5 straight games of over 500 yards. That's something that hasn't been done before either.
I agree. I think we've sat here a few times and we've kind of pointed out how well Clint has done. This was a great opportunity for us to be able to talk about some other components of the team. And I know Will, I know you and I talk back and forth in regard to being able to rely on several different receivers, and I thought we were able to do that this game.
Right. So we're jumping into offense now.
We're going to move right on into offense.
Okay. All right. So now you're talking about that, and that was a great segue into talking about the receivers. Now we have a third option now. If Jordy Thompson can keep catching the ball the way he did in his game, that just opens up so many avenues for the offense. Because as you notice, Texas Tech started playing 2 guys over top of they were playing too deep, but they had to take their one guy off the hash and put him over top to help out with White, which opened up the middle of the field, and that's when we used Jordan Thompson across the middle of the field. They had another safety trying to cover him, and you start in the second half, he was wearing up. Actually, that's what Texas Tech did to us in the first half, because every time you see a pass made across the middle of the field was KJ Dillon covering it and the slot receiver. So we gave him a dose of our own medicine by Kevin White was the one that helped us with this, because he demanded a double team. Absolutely. So now that gives that inside guy man-to-man coverage, and that inside of the field was wide open. So you don't have 2 safeties sitting there in the hash. One safety is over top of Kevin, the other safety is on the other side of the formation. So Kevin White, he just gives you so many options, and he makes things happen when he's not even getting the ball. So that was a great job by our offensive coordinators in seeing that.
Another key component is our ability to run and pass. I mean, we had 50 rushes and 44 passes. I mean, that's 96 plays. That's a great balance between run and pass. When you can keep defenses on their heels, not knowing what's coming up, and that is also an element of surprise, I should say.
Absolutely. You know, I did some research and did a little background on Texas Tech, and they talked about being able to put 6 DBs in coverage, which they call their speed package. They never were really to get it going in the second half. It really opened up some things for us, and because they were, you know, Coach Holgster mentioned that this team, in regard to pass throw, in regard to that balance, that we're talking about WVU being a running football team, you know, which is quite surprising under Coach Holgster.
Like, again, 2 100-yard rushers. I mean, we haven't seen that all year. I've been begging for a 100-yard rusher, and we got that, I think, last week. And then the following week, I got 2 of them. So, you know, I was a little giddy. I was sitting there, and I was reading through the stats, and I was like, man, because you didn't think Wendell Smallwood had that many yards, but when you look at the stats, they said 15 rushes, 123 yards. So, with that balanced attack of being able to run the ball, when they brought their speed package in, they were like, wait a minute, you know, they're running the ball, so they had to switch back to whatever their base defense was, and that's when we were able to actually throw the ball.
And 2 more components on the offense that I just happened to glance over and see that's not something that we do is Cody Clay lined up in the backfield. He even got a carry. Even got a carry. Anytime you can put a big tight end or H-back or whatever you want to call him, to go in there and bust some linebackers up. I mean, that's also helps down on short yardage. And also the Russell Shell 1-yard touchdown. I was so happy to see down there on the offense that the guys just say, hey, let's line up and stick us in when we needed it. I mean, because if we don't get that score, we probably don't win the game.
Absolutely. I'll share some statistic with you that I think you'll appreciate in regard to the last time we had two 100-yard rushers. In addition to that, 2 100-yard receivers. That was 2008 when we had Noah Devine and Pat White. You know, that's the last time we had two 200-yard rushers. So the fact that we're moving in the right direction in regard to offense, I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better game at a better time. And our guys showed up to play. We talked about it. I mean, I thought we did a great job of last week really analyzing what we had going on, and you guys laid it down by sharing your opinions and thoughts. Well, guys, with that, I still need a grade. Let me get some grades on these guys.
Offense. All right, well, this week, I'll give them a B.
Good job.
I did a great job. Like I said, a lot of teams, when you're going after the first half, it's all about adjustments. And like you spoke earlier, JT, I think our offensive staff did a great job of making adjustments. And again, Kevin White, he gives you the option to do those things. And so, again, when we saw the double teams coming, that allowed our inside slot receivers to run great routes and get open across the middle. And again, our offensive line did a great job. If I was going to give them a grade separate, I'd give them a B+, because they did a great job. Anytime you have 2 100-yard rushers in a game, I mean, that's excellent.
I'm giving them an A-. I mean, anytime you go over 500 yards again, I mean, you say you're getting used to it, but you shouldn't be. I mean, that's 500 yards, and they're scoring over 30 points.
Right.
I mean, usually when teams do that, you're going to win.
Right.
And especially when they have the poise to get behind and then to come back and not just lay down, I mean, I give them an A-.
Hey, I agree with you, Scott. I mean, in fact, you know, I was so surprised when we talked about the maturity of Clint Trickett. He has really become a prominent quarterback in the Big 12 as well as the nation. I mean, I think he's really come in here and really led this team. So I'm going to give him, and I agree with you, an A- on the offense. So, guys, I think it was a great job. I think we moved pretty well. And let's move on to defense. Let's talk about that defense. I think last week we really talked about and hoped that they could get better. So you guys share with me in regard to what you thought we were able to do against Texas Tech. Let's start with you, Scott.
Well, I think early they kept hitting the big plays on us early in the run game, which kind of got us off track. I noticed in the box we only had 5 people in the box for a lot of the first half. We didn't necessarily take into account how good the running game was, or it caught us off guard or something. But it's nice to make the halftime adjustments and stop the run. A few letdowns, a few long plays that we shouldn't have. A 69-yard touchdown run should never happen. But overall, I want to say the defensive grading. I'll just go ahead and give my grade now. But I'm going to give them a B. Seems like Nick Kwiatkowski is everywhere. Seems like he's just a man amongst boys playing over there. It doesn't look like anybody can guard or block him. Yeah, they gave up 348 yards through the air, but you're going to give up yards. That's why I said last week. I said it's going to be a back and forth game. It was, but like I said, I think our defense was better than theirs, and that's what prevailed.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and give them a B also. Like I said, first half they gashed us a couple times, and it seemed like on the long runs, our guys, the angles weren't proper, wasn't a proper run fit, so they kind of gashed us. But in the second half, again, we made adjustments. Our defensive front did a great job of stopping the run. Again, they had a couple times they were inside our red zone and only came away with field goals. And anytime you can do that, especially when they come on a short field, and you can stop them inside your red zone, only give up field goals, that is excellent. And like I said, I think our defense played a great job, and they're playing and they're getting better every week, and that's what you want from your defense. You want to get better every week, and I think our guys did, and I think we did it shorthanded. We had a couple of guys that were out. I think Christian was out, and I forgot the other kid's name. He's Dontrell Hyman was out. So we had two of our guys who typically play a lot. They didn't play, and we still played a great game. So now I think that bodes well for our defensive line. Now, they play some good football. So I think going into the Baylor game, our timing is great. So again, I give our defense a B.
Hey, I think we'll go ahead and make this a trifecta. Now I absolutely give them a B. I mean, guys, this game was really about the second half. The second half. Obviously, as Will, you mentioned, we were being gushed in the first half, but then KJ Dillon was able to make an interception to help stop that gashing. And then we had Nick Kwiatkowski, who led the team in tackles. Again, I think that for the third game. Played very, very well. Played very, very well. And everybody, we talked about having our defensive linemen step up, and I thought those guys played really well in this game. And it was key. It was key that the defensive linemen applied pressure. In fact, I did some research and realized that Texas Tech mentioned that they felt like we won the one-on-one battle. If we can do that every week, win one-on-one battles, we talk about, that's what coaches talk about. We have to win these one-on-one battles. And anytime we can do that, West Virginia fans will be happy about that.
Right. You go back to the interception. I think they gave us momentum going into the locker room because, at that point, Texas Tech, they were driving down the field. And, that interception at the end of the half, I think that gave us momentum going into the second half. And we came out and rode the momentum to a victory. And I think our defense set us up for that game. Right. Because, again, we give up only 2 field goals in the red zone. Twice they were down there. So, I hats off to the defense.
I would still like to see us move around pre-snap more. We're still too stagnant, but pre-snap, I mean, this defense is really, really hard to block. Or hard to make adjustments for if you don't know where anything's coming or what coverage they're playing in, and that goes for every defense, but especially this defense. I'd still like to see their yards per carry be down under 5. That was you take out the 70-yard touchdown run, and that goes down a lot. But we still gave up to Washington over 130 yards, I believe is what it was. But overall, I think our defense really stepped up late in the game. They gave us the 3 and outs and got the ball back to our offense when we needed it, and that says a lot about where these guys' mentality is going forward.
Absolutely. We often, over the last couple of games, it's been all about momentum before the halftime. And this time we were able to capture that momentum and take it over into the second half. And that's what I don't know, whatever the coaches said at halftime, please keep talking and saying what you're saying, because it worked. I mean, the guys came out and they really responded. And that's what West Virginia football is all about. I mean, obviously, all 3 of us are defensive guys. We want to see the defense do well every game, and we believe that'll happen. I have no confidence. I have no doubt that they will get better as the year goes along. And no better game than to do it than this upcoming game. Let's move right along, guys. Let's let's move right on to the topic that we tend to worry about, but I thought we did pretty well. Let's go into special teams.
I'm going to give them a B as well. Josh Lambert, 3 of 4, 55-yarder. As we talked about, the muff punt, again, it seems to be plaguing us this whole season. One wasn't Worley's fault as he got hit beforehand. Actually, should always be a longer penalty than that when you hit somebody not even looking at you. But overall, the coverages looked a lot better than what they had been. Punt block coverage, I mean, we almost got a couple of them, and the blocking for our punt team. I mean, it doesn't seem like anybody's even coming close to blocking our punt. It seems to bode well.
Well, I think our special teams played well also, and I'll give them a B. You didn't see any long returns. We knew, like you said, we bobbled the ball a couple of times, and we get a guy who's back there who hadn't played in a week, so he's just getting his feet wet again in the game situation. But it goes back again to Josh Lambert. He was 3 for 4 on field goals, 4 for 4 for extra points, and actually scored 13 points in that game. So you got a kicker by himself who scored 13 points in the game. So our kickoff team did a great job, especially when you can put the ball in the end zone and start from the 20 coming out. That's a great feeling for a defense. You can come in and they got to go 80 yards instead of coming on the field and they're at your 45 and they only got like 35 yards to go. So now you're thinking, man, it's short field. But I think our special teams did a great job this week, and hopefully again we can carry that over into Baylor.
Absolutely, guys. How did you guys know that we've scored on the first drive in the last 5 of the last 6 games? And 2 of those drives, I believe, we walked away with Josh Lambert scoring those drives. I mean, last week, our fearless leader sat in this chair, and he said Josh Lambert was his player of the game. And he's not here today. I'm sure if he was, he'd be gloating.
Yes, he would.
He would be gloating because he was absolutely right. Josh Lambert did a great job. Currently, he's 15 out of 19 as of right now. And in fact, there were 2 interesting stats that I thought were pretty neat. He tied the longest field goal in West Virginia history, and he's number 1 right now for the longest field goal away for an away game. So congratulations to Josh. And guys, this guy is only sophomore, is he? Sophomore.
And if you look at the film on that field goal, they showed the view from behind the goalpost. He had about 10 more yards. 10 to 15 more yards on that. And he said before he can get up to 65, maybe even 70. And from that angle from which they showed it on the television, it had about 10 yards, maybe 12, 15 more yards. So I'm thinking he can do it.
Yeah, you hit it on it earlier there too, when Molinari. Yeah. He anytime you can put kickoffs through the back of the end zone and not even give them a chance to return. I mean, that seemed like that was every time, but once, I think, something like that. But that just preserves your guys running down there, preserves them. When you see it go through, you kind of shut down. You don't take as much punishment hitting the guys. I mean, that keeps you fresh as well for these back and forth games like that. So when you're going to be scoring a lot, it does help you in the longer games.
Mentally too.
Absolutely. I mean, we just, I hope all our viewers realize that kicking component is a huge plus and bonus for our football team. Whenever we can do kickoffs where they're not returned or we're hitting field goals and extra points as we should, I mean, you got a solid football team. As I've said it from week in and week out, Coach Hogan's been talking about the 3 sides of the ball. This week, we were able to see all 3 sides of the ball line up. All right, that's what it should look like. Now, obviously, we don't want to be this close. We don't want to be this close. A few people who may have had heart conditions could have had some serious problems if they'd have been watching West Virginia, Texas Tech. But obviously, we were very good on all 3 sides of the ball. And again, guys, that just hats off to our football team. I mean, we sit here week in and week out, and we analyze these guys, and we try to find opportunities to talk about them getting better, and this week we saw them do that. That was very, very impressive. Guys, that was a lot to handle. I think we got through a lot very fast. And in football, they said there's no play that you should worry about other than the next play. How's it go, Will? Help us out with that one.
I always play the next play. Don't worry about the last play. It's over. So it's always the next play.
Right now, so let's move on into the next play, which will be the next game, Baylor. That's a big cup of soup. That's a big cup of soup. That hot. A big cup of soup heading our way. However, we're in the hills here in West Virginia, and it could get cold. It could get. There's a lot of factors that can happen. So let's go into Baylor.
Well, you talk about Baylor, high-powered offense. Their quarterback, Bryce Petty, this past week against TCU was 28 for 55, threw the ball 55 times, 500 yards, 6 touchdowns. So we're going to have our hands full coming up this week. And, the rushing game, Shock Linwood had 29 carries for 178 yards, average of 6.1 yards a carry. So the defense we saw against Texas Tech, against the run game and the pass game, we're going to need that and some more this Saturday because it may be a track meet. So,
Well, I think this is a great game for our defensive linemen and linebackers to get pressure. They have some big guys, and they've been having first rounders on the offensive line go to the league here the past few years. And I think this is a huge game for our defensive linemen. We got to get pressure. We got to let them know. We got to knock them down. We got to mix things up and not let them just say, they're in two men too deep. Mm-hmm. We got to spread some things around. We got to move around, and we got to get some pressure.
And I agree with that because now you're looking at an offense that has 3 guys this past week that had 100-yard games. You had Antoine Goodley. He had 8 catches for 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. Corey Coleman had 8 catches, 144 yards for 2 touchdowns. K.D. Cannon had 6 catches, 124 yards, 1 touchdown. And he had Jay Lee, only had 2 catches but 68 yards and another touchdown. So they got a lot of guys that can throw the ball around too. So it's going to put pressure on our defense. Typically, with West Virginia defense, they'll take Worley and put him on their best receiver. We can do that, but now you got other guys. You heard that list of receiving yards and catches. You got other guys that can catch the ball. So my secondary's going to have to step up big time. Our other corner and our safety. So our hands are going to be full, but I think our guys built to the task. If, like you said, Scotty, we can get some pressure on that quarterback and don't let him stand back there and go through his progressions.
Yeah, Bryce Petty is too good of a quarterback to just let him sit back there with all kinds of time. And like you said, the cornerback's got to step up. You can't let them, break free, break loose on plays. If you don't put any pressure on, they're sitting back there. More than 5 seconds, eventually somebody's going to get open. So,
yeah, you just cannot let the number one offense in the country sit back there and throw the football around. The good thing about it, we got a lot of number ones going on here. The number one offense, we have the number one receiver who has the most receiving yards in the country. We have a top-rated quarterback in Clint Trickett. There's a lot of athletes that will be on the field, and West Virginia fans will certainly have a treat to be able to watch these guys get after it. There's a lot of talent out there, guys. A lot of talent on both sides of the ball.
A lot of next level guys.
Absolutely. Certainly next level guys. And I often say this when we do these analysis of this. I give our guys benefit of the doubt when we feel like we want to come out there and pull it all together. I think our guys match up with the best of them. I really do. And this will be the task. And I feel real good about it. Coming into Morgantown, things have been playing out like we thought they would. And we're now faced with a game that I think will give us an opportunity to really prove to ourselves how good we are or how good we could be. I think this is a great opportunity. I think Baylor comes in here undefeated in the Big 12, 6-0. One of the top teams, most explosive teams, but West Virginia is a place that you got to come to play, and we're playing them on a nice evening. It's going to be a great game.
I mean, this is what the Big 12 is all about. This
Absolutely.
is the third top 5 team that we've played in the first 7 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is what it's all about. You come to play these games, and we got it at home, like you said. We need to have everyone there cheering loud. Hopefully disrupt the offense, make them call a timeout that they don't need, that they may need later in the game. But stopping their offense is going to be a task. I mean, they're going to put up yards. They put up yards on everybody. I mean, it's just limiting the points that come with the yards. If we can hold them to field goals while we're scoring touchdowns, I consider that's going to be a win come Saturday. Field goals as opposed to touchdowns.
Well, I think what we need to do is we're going to have to run the ball on offense. and we got to grind them down. We can't just, give them the ball. We can't have a lot of 3 and outs because, their opponent, they can score the ball from anywhere on the field. So high-powered offenses like that, they score the ball in short spurts, 2 or 3 plays, and they're thinking touchdown. So I think offensively we have to run the ball. Again, hopefully we can have 2 100-yard rushes and grind that tempo in the ground for them, and then we can speed up when we want to. Have our speed package and have our receivers line up quick and run plays like that. But I think we need to run the ball effectively to kind of nullify their offense, and then defensively we can't give up a lot do that.
They're going to take their chances.
Oh yeah, they're going to take
their.
And I think our secondary. I don't think we can't give up a lot of big. They're going to get a big play here and there, but you can't have the big plays as far as 70-yard touchdowns and things like that. Those are kind of things that it'll take the fans out of the game, and and then the players as well. Now you're thinking, wow, man, they just scored a 70-yard touchdown, and now what are we going to do about this? So if we can make them have long, sustained drives and have to grind it out, I think that'll work better in our favor.
Hey, guys, I agree with you. Can you believe that these teams have met 3 times? They've scored over 100 points, and 2 times. And those 2 times they've met, both teams have scored over a combined total of 100 points. Wow. All right. So when we do these predictions, we'll be moving to predictions. Let's not. This is going to be a good matchup. So let's move right on into it. Let's go into predictions. What do we see, guys? What do we think is going to happen when we play the Baylor Bears when they come in?
Well, I think it's going to be another high-scoring game. You look at the first time we played Baylor, our first Big 12 game. I think we won 61-60, something like that. Whew, man, you need 121 points. That's a lot of points. Like I said, it was a track meet, and I think our special teams is going to have to come into play. Hopefully, we can get another kickoff return, score points on defense somehow, special team points, instead of putting all the pressure on our offense to score all the points. If we can have our defense to put our offense in position to score points and be on the short field, and even our special team, maybe a punt return, maybe a kickoff return, I think that'll help us and put us in a great position to win this game.
I think you hit it on. I think we're going to come out and try to run the ball a little bit more than what we had previously. But I think that's only going to hold up for so long. I think it does turn into a shootout, and I think Josh Lambert comes out with his 3rd game-winning field goal at 53-50.
That's big time. That's big time. That is big time, guys.
Storming the field. Storming the field.
Storming the field. Storming the field. Hey, guys, I agree with you. I mean, this is going to be a high-octane game. It's going to be a lot of energy. West Virginia fans are going to be out in numbers. Currently, I believe it's a sold-out game. There's no tickets available, and we know what happens when there's a sold-out game here in Morgantown. It's going to be crazy. So I'm gonna agree with you guys. I think it's a very high-scoring game. Josh Lambert comes in to seal the deal. Wow. Once again, I just feel it. I feel it.
And Josh we believe. Huh?
Josh we believe. There you go, Willie. Coin that phrase. Josh we believe. T-shirts coming near you. Hey, well, guys, that'll be it. That'll be it. We'll lock it up with this and get ready for Baylor. I think we will be ready for them when they come in. And I'll say to you guys, that'll be it for our show. Check us out at thepost.com and the Mountaineer session. Until then, huddle up.